Democratic Congressman Mike Levin about the shutdown and related matters. Take a listen. The House will vote tomorrow on the Senate-passed compromise. Congressman, are you yes or no?
I'm a hard no, Major, and I am really disappointed that this bill that is coming to the House does nothing to address the looming healthcare crisis for millions and millions of people, many of whom I spoke with in these past weeks back in the district in San Diego. Their healthcare premiums in some cases are tripling or even worse. I spoke to a 62-year-old retired teacher who is trying to figure out whether he needs to take early Social Security to pay for the $700 a month in new healthcare costs. I spoke to another working mom whose bills are going to double, self-employed, for her and her family, up to over $55,000 a year. So this bill does nothing to address this. It's incredibly disappointing, and I'll be a firm no.
Do you suspect it will pass?
If the past is any prologue, then what happened in March could happen again, which is the bill passes on a purely partisan vote with little or no Democratic support. I've learned not to bet on anything happening in D.C., but if I had to tell you one way or the other, I think it will pass on a highly partisan, if not completely partisan basis.
On this program last night, one of your California delegation Democratic colleagues, Ro Khanna, said it is time for Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader in the Senate, to go. Do you agree?
Well, it's up to the Senate, but I said if I were, a Senate Democrat, I think it's time for new leadership, yes. And I think at the end of the day, Schumer did not meet this moment. I think he either could not or would not keep his caucus united. And I don't know which of the two it is, but in any event, it's a real problem, Major. And you contrast it within the House, where Hakeem Jeffries and Catherine Clark, Pete Aguilar, they kept us incredibly unified in the House. And I'm very proud to be a member of the House Democratic Caucus.
If you are asked, will you be honest with your constituents and say this deal is something in which the Democrats who fought all this time got nothing?
What I will tell them is that it's important that we have the government open, but it's also important that we address the healthcare needs of millions of people. And this bill failed to do that. So absolutely, I'll be honest about what was and what wasn't in this bill. There are three Senate appropriations bills in there for important things for our region, like military construction and veterans affairs. Interestingly, I'm an appropriator, and I'm supposed to be on the conference committee that's supposed to take that Senate bill and the partisan bill that passed in the House and reconcile the two. But that process has not occurred, nor do I expect it to occur. When I was put on that conference committee, I remember asking our ranking member in the House, is it a real conference committee or a fake conference committee? Seems to be a fake conference committee. But the so-called deal leaves so much to be desired. And of course, now we have learned that it includes some ridiculous provisions to help Republican senators who want to sue and get money for having their phone records investigated by Jack Smith in connection with January 6th. So, what else are we going to learn about what's in this thing? From what we know, it's a raw deal. It's bad for the American people who are really needing help and are in a very hard spot when it comes to the cost of living. And healthcare costs are a huge concern for millions and millions of people. And again, for the Republicans, they really have no plan other than to put everybody on high deductible junk plans. And Trump, saying that he wants to give money back to the average person. Where's their DOGE refund check? Where's the tariff refund check? It's preposterous. It's not going to happen.
What adjectives would you use, Congressman, to describe the Senate Democrats who did vote for this deal?
Disappointing. I think it was capitulation. And the lesson I also took from it, Major, is that this past Tuesday, we had huge victories across the country, in California, of course, with Prop 50, but in New Jersey and Virginia and Pennsylvania. And I think the lesson that I took from that is that we need to stand and fight for the things that matter to the average person. We were sent to Washington, D.C. to fight for people who need the help, whether on health care or on so many other things. Meanwhile, you had the administration withholding food for those in need, using whatever leverage they could, literally using people's hunger as leverage. Every available piece of evidence suggested that more Americans blamed President Trump and the House and Senate Republicans for the state of affairs as opposed to the Democrats. I think that those senators that voted yes on this should have known better.
Mike Levin, Congressman from California, Democrat. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Good to be with you. Thank you, Major.